I'm Commissioner Blanche Carney of the Philadelphia Department of Prisons. Today, November 30th, shortly before noon, Gino Hagencotter, a 34-year-old Caucasian male and an incarcerated person at the Riverside Correctional Facility, escaped custody during an outside work assignment in the Orchard, which is located directly behind the Philadelphia Industrial Correctional Center at 8201 State Road. Hagencotter remains at large, and the Philadelphia Police Department and local partners are investigating and closely monitoring the PIC perimeter and surrounding areas. Hagencotter is serving a sentence for charges related to theft and burglary, and he met the criteria to be an outside worker. That outside classification is minimum custody. Although this individual is a minimum custody inmate, he should not be approached or engaged, and anyone who sees or has contact with him should contact the police immediately. We are working closely with all of our partners to apprehend this individual and bring him back in custody. The individual was one of our lower custody level persons and decided to leave and escape by climbing a fence. This individual would have been released April 26, 2024.
So what do we infer was, do we know, was there any sort of investigation at this point revealing plans or anything at all that would suggest this program, obviously he defeats the purpose of this program? I understand he was on good behavior.
So this individual was scheduled to be released to a program in advance of his release maximum date of April. That bed date was canceled. We do a secondary review before we process individuals from our custody to ensure that no other surrounding county or jurisdiction has any criminal holds for this individual. It was discovered that he had a matter in Bucks County that forfeited the bed date, which he would have been released to a program today. And it was at that point he decided that he wanted to escape, and he did.
How does that work when you're in this detail? Are people watching them? Are there security officers out there? Can you break down, as she said, how did this happen?
So this individual, we were in the Orchard area. There was one correctional officer and this individual in the area. And that officer, at the request of this inmate, requested to use the bathroom. This person was allowed to use the bathroom. The officer, when he determined that he did not return in sufficient time, it was then he went to that bathroom area and discovered that he had left the compound.
Can you clarify the timeline, please, of when you discovered that he was missing?
The officer alerted us via our cross communications at 12:05 p.m. However, we've been able, in our partnership with Philly Police Department and the Sanitation Department located to the right of PICC, we observed him on camera at 11:48 a.m. The officer notified at 12:05 p.m., 8 p.m.
Was it a one-on-one? You said the guard was with
It was a one-on-one. He was participating in the orchard activities of the day. It is a fruit-bearing orchard, and he was participating. Asked for to use the lavatory, he was permitted, but it was a one-on-one. Security was present.
So one guard, one prisoner, being Gino Hagencotter.
Yes.
Okay,
What
and
do
then
you say to folks? This has happened before, obviously in May. We had two guys escape, now you have this. What do you say to people who are around here who obviously have questions?
Well, we notified or activated our emergency alert system to notify the surrounding county. We stood up our immediate perimeter patrol within a quarter-mile radius of our campus from Rawn to Ashburner. In partnership, we started locking the jails down across State Road. All the activities were suspended. Any activities were in progress were suspended. Individuals were escorted outside the facilities. Counts commenced, counts cleared, absent the completed count for Riverside Correctional Facility for which this inmate was assigned and housed. Once we started and initiated our perimeter foot patrol and vehicular patrol, we were soon very soon joined by PPD that assisted us with securing and blocking off access to traffic roadway for State Road. We coordinated our K9 units to get the scent of this individual. And I will turn the questions over for the apprehension and investigation to the PPD. What we have here is an individual who climbed over. There was a correctional officer there, perimeter patrols. He was allowed to use the laboratory and took advantage. At the point in which the officer became aware, he notified campus-wide, and we implemented our lockdown and started our investigation and perimeter security.
Before you leave, Commissioner, can you explain one more time? I just want to make sure I understand. He apparently got some bad news or got information about another detainer that he had on him that could have possibly influenced his decision today?
So that we believe that he was influenced by the fact he was aware that he was going to be released to a program. The Bucks County matter was retail theft, and we believe that that part played a part in his decision to escape.
One more thing, we understand that Murder School wasn't notified until 12:45, and the school district of Philadelphia didn't know about this until later. Why were the schools not informed right away?
The schools were informed. We notified and activated our emergency alert systems. We did have a few phone calls from the area schools asking for additional information, for which we provided.
I have one final question. Back in May, the correctional officers union president said that there used to be more guards on the perimeter outside of PIC, and that was an issue when Steve Grant and first got out in May. Were there any changes after the May escape to beef up outdoor security here, and would that have affected what happens today?
Yes, since that time, we have both an officer stationed in the security booth, and we have continuous roving vehicular officer that is in a vehicle that goes along up and down that road that joins the rear of PICC and the perimeter. Where this individual escaped was at the far rear of the orchard. So both officers were in place, and they were touring and patrolling the area. At 11:45, that individual was seen going over the fence. At 12:05, the officer in the actual orchard, which is fenced in, notified. So we do have those correctional officers doing continuous roving, but he took ample opportunity to climb over that fence and be discovered and observed on camera at 11:48 a.m.
What did you learn then? What did you learn now today?
What we've learned is anytime you're giving an individual an opportunity, which was the lowest custody, one of the lowest custodies that we had security in place, and this person took ample opportunity. It's going to be incumbent upon us to continue to be vigilant in accommodating. What we do every day is to go to the restroom. He took ample opportunity. The officer was present and immediately notified. So we just have to be more vigilant.
Is there a bigger issue at the correctional facilities? I mean, these incidents in May. Last night there was, an incident at Crumholt's facility. There was, you're investigating an inmate murder. What can you tell me about what's happening at
So what?
There's a bigger issue.
There's not a bigger issue. What we have is we have correctional officers in place, monitoring individuals, being vigilant to be observant, allowing them to utilize facilities, and this person took ample opportunity. The correctional staff was in place. This wasn't an issue where there wasn't a correctional officer in the orchard. It was just him and that individual. And we are working tirelessly to staff these facilities, and we'll continue to do that.
Is there an issue with staffing?
There is an issue with staffing, but this would not have been, you had an individual present. So we're covering all of our posts where we have incarcerated individuals. Yes, we are short-staffed. We are working to fill back up, to attract people back to corrections. We're in one of the most competitive labor markets we've never seen before. But the staff who report to work that are doing their due diligence, in this case, you gave a person an opportunity and he took it.
What happens next? You heard the helicopters overhead.
So the helicopter should remain in place to be vigilant. We don't want to assume that people won't backtrack, and the police will give updates, but that's one of our precautions and our great partnership with the police department.
Talk to Deputy Commissioner Ward.
You sure can. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon. Just very preliminarily, I'm not going to repeat everything the commissioner said. So the Philadelphia police responded sometime after 12:30 to the alert that the prisoner had escaped. Patrol officers as well as special patrol, our K9 units, set up a larger perimeter. They had already set up an inner perimeter, as she said. They closed some roads, especially State Road and other streets, and began to search as best we could. Detectives also responded from Northeast Detectives and began an investigation. Some of their investigation included pull-in area video. All right, we now know that after this individual, Mr. Hagenkotter, went over the fence, which we believe, he went through the sanitation yard, which is adjacent to the prison. All right, we have video of him going through that parking lot. We also have video of him walking down the street, further down the block towards Tarsdale Avenue. And that video, I think, has been disseminated. So we have a little bit of a time frame. All that was before 12 noon. Our perimeter got set up after that, so he got through our perimeter. All right. So now we have his description out. As the commissioner said, we need the public's help. We are in the process of applying for an escape warrant, a felony warrant for Mr. Gino Hagenkotter. The marshals have agreed to help us search for the individual. So anyone who may know about his whereabouts, may have information about him, we're urging them to call 911. They could also call our tip line at 215-686-TIPS.
Frank, do you think he's dangerous?
At this point, he doesn't have any dangerous history with the police. That's why he qualified to work outside and have a little more freedom. So at this point, I don't know. We want to get him back in custody as quick as we can.
What do neighbors need to know? What do you need to tell them about helping you, or just being vigilant?
So try to search out the images that we put out of him. He's a 34-year-old white male. When he was last seen wearing blue pants, not sure if he still has them on, dark colored boots, black, they appear to be black, and a short sleeve white shirt. If they see him, we're urging them to call 911 and let us know.
How about any call for people with surveillance, cameras, things
Well,
of that nature to kind of give you a sense of where he's been?
Sure, we still have detectives out doing grid searches. We have the helicopters doing the same thing. So we are going video camera that we see to video camera. So we're picking up video to try to get a direction from them. Like I said, we're a little bit behind, but we're going to do our best to figure out which way he went.
Where's his home?
Well, we got several addresses and last known addresses. I'm not going to put that out right now, but we're checking all of them, and we're at many of those locations. I can't give all the information. It's a very active investigation. What I could tell you is at about 3:45 this morning, the prison officials found a 44-year-old individual unresponsive. Medical personnel tended to him, and about 4:35, he was pronounced. Police got involved in an investigation, which is still very active. We have a 30-year-old male in custody. No one is charged, and we don't have official notifications that I have documented for this individual. So as soon as we have all that, Public Affairs will put out the names and information. But until we have charges, we can't give you any information on the defendant. So they're processing evidence. There's forensic evidence that they're still working on.
Is there any information on the death?
At this point, I'm not going to rule, and that's going to be up to the ME, and that's not complete.
Was that here at State or CFC?
That's where it happened. I think it was CFC.
It was CFC.
CFC.
Thank you.
What can you tell us about the search? We saw dogs and SWAT teams out there. Who's out
Well,
there?
so he shedded some clothing. So the dogs did their very best to set up the perimeter we had originally and try to search for him. But like I said, with the video evidence we recovered, we think he got out of that perimeter before we got into that perimeter. So they followed it so far, and basically led to where we know he crossed over and got onto the street.
So he shed some clothing. Can you be more specific?
Yeah, he said the jumpsuit that he had on. He now has a white T-shirt, and when he left here, he had pants, like khaki pants with dark boots. But he had like a jumper over it. He left that here, so that was something the dogs used to try to pick up his scent. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.